Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Think Future. My name's Chris Kalaboukis, and once again, we're coming at you live from deep in the heart of Silicon Valley, California. We're talking innovation, startups, the future, not necessarily those, and not necessarily in that order. If you're watching on YouTube, smack that subscribe button and hit that bell so you can be notified when a new show comes online. If you're listening on a favorite podcast service, please subscribe and please drop a note on Apple Podcasts. I greatly, greatly appreciated it. So, when I was younger, I was telling my dad, I want to get into computers. And you know what he said? He said, oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Computers are just a fad. They're just a fad. They're eventually going to go away, and then you won't have a job. You need to get into something else. You need to get into something people need. You need to become like a barber, because everyone needs their haircut. Or you need to go into the food business, because everyone needs to eat. And he was trying to impress upon me the fact that there are certain things that humans need, and there's certain things that humans want. For example, haircuts. Everybody needs a haircut, right? I mean, there's people out there who cut their own hair. Sure, I could probably cut my own hair, but there's people who need haircuts. So it's one of those things that within our human civilized society, we need to get our haircut. We need to get some of us do it on more often than others, but it is a need. It's a requirement. I'll give you another example. Cupcakes. Do we really need cupcakes? I mean, are cupcakes something that we need? Or crumble cookies? Do we really need crumble cookies? No. Are crumble cookies on the food pyramid? No, we don't need crumble cookies. We want crumble cookies. We look at crumble cookies, we look at cupcakes, we look at fries, we look at these things and we go, we want those. We don't need them, but we want them. Sure, we need to eat. This is true. But do we really need cupcakes? Do we really need crumble cookies? Do we really need French fries? We could probably get away with not having any of those things and still be able to survive. We do need to eat, though, so food is important. But basically what I'm trying to say is that a lot of times we get lost in the wants and not the needs. So startup founders, we look at the wants. We look at what do people really want, and the problem is that we should be looking at what do people really need. And I had a friend of mine who I was working with a long time ago who said you can really break it down into, even beyond wants and needs, into essentials. If you think about human beings, if you think about humans and the life cycle of a human being, we're born, we mate, we procreate. What did I miss? We born, we date, we mate, we procreate, and we die. Those things are absolutely essential human things that we do. It's like death and taxes. Well, death is there already. So here are things that we always do. People are always born. People typically date, although lately what's happening nowadays is that a lot of people aren't dating anymore. So the question is, what's happening with dating? Or maybe dating is just evolving and changing. People mate. They procreate. They create children. They create new human beings. And then they die. They pass away. So if you think about it, if you build a startup in any one of those focused areas, maybe not dating so much because there's lots of stuff going on in the dating space, but even in the dating space, there's plenty of niche things going on. If you think about it, I mean, I was talking a few shows ago about the future and how personalized the future was going to be. Maybe we need better dating apps that are even more laser focused on specific individuals and specific groups than what's already out there. When human beings are born, children, tiny little babies, they need a lot of help. What can we do to help small children? I know a startup founder who created a swaddling heated towel for children in underdeveloped countries who don't get the warmth that they need. Maybe you could do something in the baby space. Maybe you can do something in the dating space. Maybe you can do something in the mating space to help people connect to each other. Maybe you can do something in the procreation space. Help women become pregnant. There's lots of stuff that we can do that just focus on. It's like, do we really need more cupcakes? Do we really need more crumble cookies? Do we really need more home food shipping services? Create your own food at home. Do we really need another one of those? Or are there plenty of other businesses that we can look at that focus on the true needs of a human? I mean, think about it yourself. Think about what you personally need as opposed to what you personally want. I bet you, unless you're already a minimalist, I bet you can look at your life or where your life is to this moment in time and think to yourself, I can probably sit down and do an exercise where I can pare out the want from the need. And if you can pare out the want from the need, then once you pare out the want from the need, you look at the list of needs and you go, how are my needs not being met? And if my needs are not being met in a specific space, how can I solve that problem? Because that problem where my need is not being met in that specific part of this space may be an issue that we need a product to be developed to solve. Look at your needs. Separate out your wants. I mean, everyone likes wants. Everybody loves wants. I mean, wants is like the fun stuff, right? I mean, if you didn't have wants, then you'd be really boring, right? You'd be super boring. But the problem with wants is that when times are tough, when we have recessions, depressions, etc., the wants are the first things that go out the door. Am I going to buy Crumble cookies if I can't afford to buy food? Probably not, although some people, they're really into Crumble cookies, so who knows? So what I'm saying is that split out your wants. Put them over somewhere else. And we're currently looking at hard times upcoming. So what can we do to create something that addresses needs as opposed to wants? So pull out your wants, push them off to the side, and now pull together your needs. Look at your needs list, things that you need to do every day. Is there somewhere in that list of needs something that's not being addressed properly? You probably find 2 or 3 things in that list of needs that are not being addressed properly. Then take each one of those things that is not being addressed properly and brainstorm solutions for that specific thing that's not being addressed properly. How can you do it better? How about this for an example? You got to take your kids to school. You got to take your kids to school. You got to bring them back from school. Take them to school, bring them back from school. Is there a way to build a service? This may be a subset of Uber that allows you to find drivers that are pre-vetted to be able to pick up your kids from school and drop them off at school. Maybe you can talk to other parents in the neighborhood. Maybe you can create a tool that allows parents to connect with each other to do carpooling. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. That's what I'm saying, is that look at a need, a specific need that you might have on your needs list, not your wants list, which includes Crumble cookies, but on your needs list where something is missing. There's a gap. And when there's a gap, there may be an empty open space, a white space for you to build a product, build a business. And when you figure that out, build an MVP, test it out, see if people bite. If people bite, then take that and expand upon it. Look at the needs instead of the wants. And then when times are tough, those things will not disappear. Those things will continue to be there. Well, typically, mostly. There's some cases where the out of the blue black swans will occur, like COVID, which your kids are not going to school at all. So that particular thing might not happen. You can never build something that will solve everything for when there are black swan situations, but you can try and do your best to build something that fits into that space. But like I said, take your wants, separate your needs from your wants, look at your needs, look at your individual needs, look at the gaps in the needs, brainstorm on a gap in the need. And then if that doesn't look interesting, brainstorm on another gap and another gap. Keep brainstorming on the gaps in your needs. Look at what you could develop, what kind of solution you could develop for that particular problem. Build a business there. If you build a business for your need and not your want, then there's a better chance that you'll survive when times are tough. Now I'm going to head out and get some Crumble cookies. I hear they're really good. And I will be back in about a month or so. I'm going on sabbatical, so you won't be seeing me for a while. But I've got, what is it, 669 episodes of the Think Future Show. So go back and check out the back catalog. I got some really good stuff back there. So see you in November. And don't forget to think future.